It's good to see you. Come check on it. Maybe not well, we're fine. We'll get that through this weekend. Oh, yeah.
Anybody need an agenda that's not got one? While I'm back here.
So you can see where it's at in the system, and then we'll go from there.
All right, good evening, everybody. I appreciate everybody being here tonight. Thank you for coming. I'm going to call this meeting to order. We are short-handed tonight. We do have a quorum. There's three of us here, but one of our commissioners in Raleigh at work. The other commissioner has stomach virus, and we will.
Where she stay, huh?
Yeah, and we're glad she's where she is. We miss her, but we're glad she's where she is. So, but thank you all for coming. This is the Yancey County Board of Commissioners regular business meeting for January the 13th of 2025, the first regular commissioner meeting of the year. And I hope everyone had a good and happy New Year. Looking forward to all the things that we get to do during this year, and we just need some direction on some issues that we've got coming up. We're going to get good updates tonight on emergency services and what's going on post-Helene. So I'll call this meeting to order, and I'll do the invocation. I've asked Commissioner Leopard if he would pledge to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'm going to do what I didn't do last meeting, cut my phone off. I forgot. All right, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you and praise you for this opportunity and the privilege that we have to call upon your name. Thank you for this time that we have to conduct the business of Yancey County. I ask and pray for your guidance and your direction, your wisdom and understanding, that we would lead correctly and properly and in accordance to your will. Bless this time together and help us to honor you in all we do in Jesus' name. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Have a seat. I know everybody's had an opportunity to look over the agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve? Have a motion and a second. We're all in favor? Aye. None opposed. Next we have our consent agenda, and I'll go over that. We have the approval of the December 2nd, 2024 special meeting minutes. We have the approval of the December 16th, 24 regular meeting minutes. We have the approval of the December 16th closed session minutes. We have the approval of the December 30th special meeting minutes. We have the approval of the December 30th closed session minutes. And F is the endurance contract, CEI, and all that is for those of you in the public that wondering about what that is our additional hauling from our landfill, where our landfill has been so congested, and we are unable, with the contract we have, the provider that we have, CDI now, is unable to get all of the demand out. So we have had to hire additional hauling out of there so we can make room in our landfill to be able to process some more at our convenience center. So that's what that contract is. This company is called Endurance. Then item G is the approval of our tax release adjustments in 2025. And then finally, our December 24 tax collection reports that we have every month for informational purposes as usual. So do I hear an approval of the consent agenda?
Make that motion.
So we have a motion
Second.
and a second. We're all in favor because there's no opposed. All right, next on our agenda is Mr. Danny McIntosh, our income tax administrator. He'll be talking to us about a few things here. So welcome, Danny. Thanks for coming.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. I hope you had opportunity to look over the release details for this past month and also the refund request. I'd be happy to answer any questions y'all might have about any of those. And if not, I'd like to have a motion on the refund request.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor say aye. Hearing none, opposed, motion carries.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
That easy?
That ready?
I don't know how much my support on these next two items are out of town or at home sick. I don't know if this is time to do this or not, but I've got to bring it up because one of them is timely in itself.
Right.
But it's that time of year again to let the Department of Revenue know whether or not the county intends to maintain the 2% discount for this upcoming year. And I guess it's about this time last year that we went through all of the reasons for that, of why that it truly should be done away with. It's a lot more than monetary. As a matter of fact, this week we're dealing with, you have a rush at the end of the year. There's certain times you have a rush, but when you come back after Christmas, from then through the 6th of January is a very busy time in the tax office because you're leading up to the last day to pay without any interest. So we have people who pay on the 6th day of January and they pay the discounted amount from all of us. And it's just like clockwork. You suffer these problems. Well, then that takes the staff is going to have to write a letter, unless they would have to have a phone number to advise that taxpayer that they paid the incorrect amount, and if they need to come back and pay that, plus they need to pay 2% interest that got added on it midnight after they brought their check in. It goes on and on. But at any rate, that decision needs to be made if y'all want to consider removing that discount so we can notify the Department of Revenue prior to May 1st. And I know this is just January, so there's a bit of time on that. And so I don't know if you want to discuss that going forward or.
Well, in my opinion, I know that you have been an advocate for doing away with the 2% discount for years, and we've had this discussion multiple times. With two commissioners being gone, I would like to table it. We can have that discussion and talk about it and make a decision. At least.
All right, and that would be fine. And that second item that I written down, I'll just mention it since it's on the thing there. You may want to do the same thing with that, but to require that our parcel number be placed on deeds prior to them being recorded. I sent you a copy of that statute or wrote out briefly there what that does. We get deeds, the deeds will be created with the grantee's name and their old address when they're moving to the place that you're buying, and everybody knows it. The real estate agent knows it, the people knows it. I'm afraid Donnie may throw something at me when I say the attorney knows it. It may be you don't know, but somebody knows it, and they know that the county's gonna create a tax bill and send it to somebody. So it'd be a big help if the tax office got to look at that beforehand and found that there was a viable address on it to send that to the new owner. That in addition to parcel numbers, I don't know why that is such a, not a contentious issue, but there's so many mistakes made. And it's just a transposition of one number, two, or whatever. But that's gonna cause problems. It causes problems for everybody after that's done. So I think it would just really be great if the tax office, reviewed those deeds beforehand to make sure, as the statute lays out, that the tax office has all the information the tax office needs prior to that deed being recorded. So if you want to do that in the same.
Well, and without it being a monetary decision, I think we could make that. If you are willing to do that here tonight, I'm in agreement to that. You know, it's just my opinion. We'll vote on it in just a second. But if you want to wait on the other two commissioners making that decision, it's fine. But the other one's monetary. That's the reason I want to wait on this one.
I don't have any problem with it, except the fact that we know what other, if any, issues that brings up with our other county offices, like the register of deeds, or.
I'm not aware of any.
Well, it's actually a statute addressed to the register of deeds. It's not addressed to the tax office.
So that's just something that we're just not doing. Is that what you're saying? I mean, we wouldn't have to adopt an ordinance or anything like that.
It would have to be a resolution, I think.
Okay.
And so that the register of deeds would be able to say, look, you need to put the parcel number on this before I take it to the tax office because they will turn it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't against having, you know, our board, I'd say, oh, yeah, that, no. Yeah.
And fixing it on the board of B&R is not the time,
No.
place. I mean, it needs to be done properly. If there's a statute on it, I think it's a no-brainer that we make it.
We can work on it,
Yeah.
something next month.
Okay.
So you like a resolution in for.
Yeah, so let's get a resolution and then we'll vote on it next month and go forward.
Okay, I would draw my motion.
Okay, so motion is withdrawn. We will table that until next month and before a resolution can be brought before us and we can move forward.
Okay, great, thank you.
Everybody good?
Good.
Thank you, appreciate it, Danny. Next on our agenda is Mr. John Miller. He is our director of the Reconciliation House. Going to come and give us update. Thank you for being here, Mr. Miller. We appreciate that. Appreciate all that you're doing too, by the way.
Yep, thank you for having me. Also in line with things, I don't know if anybody actually thanked the county for procuring Freds, you know, going through all that, county employees, you know, we had wonderful engagement with the community, the men and women of the National Guard, you know, all the sites like Alltech and the high school, many more during the storm. It's very gratifying to see how this community responded and how the whole country responded to what we've been through. So yeah, Fred's, the Hurricane Relief Center closed. This last day was last Monday. Got everything cleaned up and out of there. Again, big thanks to the county employees and all the people that got added on to do that. It went really well. I think Samaritan's Purse is taking it over for offices and furniture, which would be a great fit. So right now, the overflow for donations are in a warehouse in Spruce Pine. PRC has been kind to house those for us. Some of the highlights are we have about 300 pallets of baby items, about 150 pallets of clothes, 170 pallets of personal hygiene, 379 pallets of MREs, and about 431 pallets of water. So really, there's not hardly any food left there. There's a lot of miscellaneous stuff that we'll be working through, kind of sorting out and see where it goes. I think, you know, as we move in, I've already talked to some groups who are coming in February as we look at the rebuild stage. I think having water for those is a natural fit, so we'll keep them stocked up with what we got. The baby items and the MREs, I think will be the two things that we'll have to get creative on and trying to figure out what to do with those items. So we've been working just along those relief efforts. We've also been trying to network among the community on who's doing what. So like Ball Creek Relief, rebuild the haulers. We've been reaching out to try to figure out the niches in the community so we can refer folks as we get needs, which is doing really good. At Reconciliation House, we're doing 3 days a week for food right now. they can call, come by. I'm happy to do that. We've got, they can come through Neighbor Choice, choose like a grocery store. We've got healthy food, shelf-stable produce, and then frozen meats to go to. So we're really well stocked up. Manna Food Bank in Nashville, you guys know, a really great partner. They received some of the Carolina Cares concert money. So we've actually can get food probably for free through June, which is really great and really wonderful. So we should be able to replenish. If we get really busy, we should be in good shape for a while. Financially, the county was really awesome. Their Venmo account, which was donations, we received about $50,000 to help folks financially. Everybody got affected by the storm out of work, so we've been helping out with rent, heating. We also were able to, through donations and grant writing, we did an additional 100. So today, looking at numbers, actually before I came, we've spent over $150,000 up from community members who were affected by the storm, which has been really great and really sad. The stories are pretty rough to hear some folks, but we're doing what we can and continue to do what we can. We're still taking applications for financial assistance too, so if anybody needs, just have them reach out to us. Happy to help. That's really all I got. I figured if you guys had questions about Fred's or storm relief or, anything that we can help.
One thing that I just want to say is, John, you have been such an asset and help and a blessing.
Happy to help.
And you have done a tremendous job. I want to thank you publicly. I've thanked you before, but I want to thank you publicly because I'm telling you, you've done a tremendous job. And you're one of those people that have just come out and been one of our heroes, and we thank you for that. All that you've done in your staff, I know they've worked really hard. Tony and all the group up there has been really good.
Yeah.
You have, when we were needing to do something with a 501c3 on our monetary issues, you stepped up, took that in for us and helped us and made that happen. So we appreciate that, appreciate everything that you've done with that. And I don't know how we could have gotten by without you. And your help and your efforts and stuff up at Fred's, we thank you for that. I mean, it's just been great. We partnered together really good, and I think it's been a profitable thing, so we appreciate it.
Yeah, happy to help lots of community members, lots of volunteers.
And there has been leadership, and we appreciate for you.
You're welcome. Happy to have you.
Absolutely.
We have one more thing for you tonight. We have another check that came through the Venmo, or a bunch of checks, a bunch of donations, $16,309 to add to that. So we'll give that to you tonight, and I'd like to get a picture with you and the commissioners, if you will.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you as well. You've always stepped up to the plate and said, yeah, I'll help. So I appreciate that so much.
And John has also he also didn't have to be asked. He was asked and tasked with stuff, and you were willing to, but you come and you ask for things to do, and I really appreciate that too.
Yeah.
We didn't have to ask you to do some things, you just took it upon yourself, and I appreciate it. And that's why we Yancey strong, because there's so many people that done it. So many people that just came and said, what can I do? And you're one of those, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, next on our agenda, another one of those folks that have stepped up and done a tremendous job. Our emergency manager, Mr. Jeff Howe. Jeff, I promise you never asked for this to happen, and never wanted this to happen. But I'm telling you, thank you for what you've done, Jeff, and we look forward to hearing the recovery update and what you've got for us. And I know that it was stressful. We were there with you every day, and understand that none of this was in our wheelhouse. It's been a huge learning curve, but we appreciate what you've done. So thank you.
Speak for yourself. It was a breeze.
Right on.
With your permission, I'd like to ask Chris Sigmund to come up as well, because he plays such a huge part in this, and he can bring big pieces of this that I can't.
That's perfect. And for everybody that doesn't know, I'll introduce him if that's okay, sir. Chris was one of the executives when we were working with Little League, also a native of Yancey County. His family's from here. I know a lot of you remember Jesse Sigmund, and Chris is a product of Yancey County, moved away, and has been very successful in what he's done. And Chris is also one of those folks that come in, wasn't expecting to see him, but as he retired from Little League, pulled up one day, and I was going down to the headquarters down at the senior center, and was working with Jeff and Mark and everybody. We were all there together. He just pulled up one day. I was getting out of my truck, and here come Chris pulling in the parking lot. Got out of his truck, and he says, "What can I do?" So thank you. You come in, wasn't asked to come and do anything, but there again, you stepped up, you done what was needed, you saw a need, you helped us with that, you filled that void, and we appreciate it, so thank you.
I'm gonna add one more to that. Miss April Wilson.
Yep, we'll get to her in a minute. That tall woman.
She's done tremendous. People think that I'm the one posting all this stuff on Facebook on the Mercy Management page. She's putting this stuff out and keeping everybody updated, and that's a huge thing. It's something that Mark brought to me on day one. We have to communicate.
Yeah.
And if it hadn't been for that young lady coming in, I don't think we could have done it.
Yeah.
Certainly couldn't have done it as well as she does. So for our response and recovery update, finishing out the response piece of the disaster. We're finishing up on logistics. We've got one more piece of equipment sitting up at, I think somewhere up on Pensacola. There's one tent and we got one heater. Once we get those things turned in, that'll pretty much close us out on all the logistics items, the big ticket items that we got from North Carolina Mercy Management. I had Michael Harris pull up some numbers for me today. Total throughout the disaster, Buncombe County did 1,225 requests. Yancey County did 661. The next closest county was McDowell County at 357. We did, and I don't think we're 10% the size of Buncombe County, but those IMT teams, and y'all know this, they did so much work and they requested so much stuff. But just, if I could go back and hug everybody's neck again, I would. They did tremendous work for us and got us a lot of the stuff that we needed. Today was the last day that our DSA teams, Disaster Survivor Assistance teams, are going to be in Yancey County. They will still be available. They're not going to be at the library anymore. They're not going to be going out into the field. However, there is a strike team in Buncombe County that we can call on at any time. If we find a community that still hasn't been reached and needs somebody to come out there to them, then those teams, we can call them in from Buncombe County and they can go do it. That's only if they need somebody to sit down with them. You can still dial the 1-800 number for FEMA. You can still go online and do it yourself. But sometimes it just is very helpful just to sit down in front of somebody. They can go to the DRC and do it as well. The DRC, when I went there and visited them today, they said they're still seeing, that's what's going to determine how long they're going to stay open, is the amount of traffic. And it's anywhere between 60 and 80. They said some days they'll see 100 people come through, and that's just unheard of in a small county like this. But I do think that we're getting a lot of people from Mitchell and Madison County and maybe even McDowell County somewhat. The individual assistance deadline is February 6th. If anyone hasn't applied by then, that's it. Same thing for the unemployment assistance. February 6th is the deadline on it. Now, that does not mean that the DRC will close on February 6th. That's just the last day to register for individual assistance. The housing numbers. This was kind of shocking to me, but they really said that this was pretty normal. We have 250 homes that were either damaged to the point that folks can't live in them or destroyed. Out of the 250, only 24 accepted FEMA assistance. 53 people declined FEMA assistance. They're still living in their damaged dwelling. 161 declined FEMA assistance. They've located another resource. 24 will locate a resource. Doesn't say where they're staying, we don't have that kind of detail on it. I printed this out and left it late on my printer, my apologies. Right now, we do have, of the 24, there's one home that has been placed. We got 2 sites. Help me out, Chris. Harris Mobile Home Park is one, and then Granny's Mobile Home, I think down on Upper Browns Creek, is another. So they've got the sites contracted. It's just a matter of getting the units in, getting them placed, getting them inspected, and all this stuff. And I had a not pleasant conversation with FEMA the other day, because I'm really very disappointed in some of the support and the regulatory stuff that we're having to bang our head against the wall. Chris knows what I'm talking about on some of the roads and the bridges stuff. It's really getting to the ridiculous point, and so if you get a nasty phone call about me, it's probably justified. Shelters, thanks. We've had 5 different nights in the last 6 weeks, April.
Yeah.
We've had shelters open. The other night is the only night that we've had anyone stay in the shelter. There has yet to be any locals that come to the shelter. They're staying in their own place. These folks were people that were passing through and couldn't find a hotel room, just need a place to stay. And the hazard mitigation grant program is something that a lot of people have been asking about. And Lynn and I get these emails all the time about it. I asked for it, and Lynn, unless you've gotten something and I haven't gotten it, I've asked for how many applications have been received, and I have not gotten that answer yet. Of course, that's something that will fall back into the county's, responsibility once the properties are purchased, or elevator, whatever it is they're going to be doing with it. But that's going to be a big program as we come up. There's a lot of people that are interested in the program, but until I get that number back from state of North Carolina, I won't know what it is. Last thing on my list is that there's an American Red Cross grant that's coming up community organizations, non-profit community organizations can apply for it, whether it's Search or PATH or anybody along those lines that want to apply for that. That's out there. Please help us spread the word on that. So I'm going to step out of the way and let Chris take over, and he's going to brief on the debris, roads, bridges, culverts, and driveways.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, good to see everybody, Lynn. Some updates from your county planner. The first, I want to commend Jeff and April. The snowstorm hit, and there was a call for shelters, and they were sent into action to try to get shelters, and they worked tirelessly through the weekend to make that happen. April had a group of volunteers from the Red Cross that was supposed to man the shelters that all canceled on her, and she worked really hard to get that open, so they deserve credit for all the work they put in over the weekend. Today was our first meeting between the DOT, SDR, Emergency Management, EMS, FEMA, April on the PIO side, and the county planners. We're having that weekly now. Some of this is to schedule and publish for our citizens what the DOT's priorities are, their schedules, what's coming next, and harmonize that schedule with SDR, hence the planning and county planner. SDR is in the final throes of the first wave of the right-of-way clearing. By February 1st, first week of February, they'll have the first pass of the county complete. They'll be up to 4 passes, okay, and that's right-of-way clearing. They're moving into the private property portion. They had the sign-ups for the PPDR up here at the DRC that started last week. Those will continue. We're going to push them towards Highway 80 north and south. And we're going to push them there intentionally away from DOT's work so we can minimize the truck traffic and concentration in every area. Next, they're gonna move into the waterways. They've submitted, today was the first pass of the first waterway, which would be the Cane River. They submitted their flyovers and details to Lynn and I today for approval, and then that'll go up to FEMA for approval. They will do debris removal from infrastructure that crosses the river, bridges, 1,000 feet upstream, 50 feet downstream. If they hit additional debris at the 1,000-foot mark, they will continue up to 2,000 feet. They're still, go ahead.
Is that for all bridges or just?
All bridges that exist and don't exist, private and public. And they will start at the headwaters, so they'll work, downstream logically in case there was another flood. If they were starting at the bottom, it would be all for naught. They're still working with FEMA on the width, how far to go outside the banks, and we're looking for that direction from FEMA.
Is there a status quo for that? I mean, is there a precedent set in prior disasters whether it's 50 foot or 100 foot? I mean, there's no statutory or nothing that says how
I asked that question and I got a very complex answer.
Okay.
They fly a drone at 300 feet at a 45-degree camera angle, and what can be seen within that vision is eligible.
So it just depends on each situation and scenario. From down.
It does.
So I mean, they don't have a standard operating procedure, that just goes.
They've never had anything like this.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're writing the playbook on some of this right now. We did request some type of mechanism for remote sign up for the PPDR. We have citizens that are stationed abroad, military. We have citizens that are vacationing that want to sign up and have the debris removed. They're a little sensitive to that because you need to show a deed and they need to verify it's you. They did have an incident in another state where a neighbor called in and got something torn down on somebody else's property, and so they're a little sensitive to that, but they heard us. We need a mechanism. DOT, so they're working 19W North, Huntsdale, Murphytown, to River Road. Next up will be Jacks Creek, 19W Piney Hill to Tennessee. We did carry the message of a request to strike the roads that have been paved. That came from Mr. Howe, Niles Howe, that, it's wet at night, it's dangerous if you don't have a stripe. They are in the winter months, it's hard to do that, but they heard us and committed they'd make an effort to get that done. We will publish these priorities through April and get that out there for our citizens. Moving on to bridges and roads, private bridges and roads replacements and repairs. The biggest thing here, the executive order number 2 that was signed on the 2nd by Governor Stein. Really, the state's going to take over a lot of the work I've been doing, and so that's good. I'm one person, and the state's got a lot more horsepower than I have. Kristen Moyle from OSBM will be our representative. She has worked with us in the past on FRED, and seems to be very user-friendly. I've touched base with her a couple times. She'll be here Wednesday, and she'll give you more guidance. She's meeting with the state tomorrow to kind of get her direction. Okay?
She's going to be here long-term or just periodically? She's covering other counties or?
She
Yancey County.
She is covering other counties and Yancey County, but she will be based here for a long period of time, is my understanding. The biggest piece on this is they will use DOT contracted vendors. So I think that's very important. She and I have like-minded thinking on a couple things. She's of the mindset that we should remap some of our streams instead of doing the environmental H&H studies and the no-rise certifications bridge by bridge. There are areas that need to be remapped fully. Cattail Creek's a great example. Last time it was remapped in 1981. So you would have to redo a study for every single bridge that's replaced on Cattail Creek. Makes a lot more sense to remap the whole creek. That doesn't fit nicely in like a FEMA box. They're more project by project. She is taking this up to the higher levels of FEMA, and I want to support her there and hope she's successful. And that'll give us a lot more speed. That's it.
Chris, Jeff, thank you so much for all that y'all do. Appreciate all the hard work. Thank you. And before we do the county manager report, since it's brought up at the call one back there, I'd like to get the tall woman back there. April, if you could please stand. April Wilson, I call her tall woman because she's like a foot taller than me. And anyway, really appreciate what you've done, April. April is a representative. She works with the American Red Cross. Also, another one of those volunteers that came in and said, what can I do? Where can I fill a position and a void? We put her to task at our public information officer. She has done a tremendous job. We appreciate what you've done and how you've done it, and the character that you have. Thank you. We appreciate that, and you've done a tremendous job. Just want to thank you in front of everybody and appreciate it. And just keep up the good work. If you get information, we're giving it to her. She's putting it out there, but also she has come up with a whole bunch of great ideas and some stuff that she has with her experience with the Red Cross, and it's come as very beneficial to the county. So thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Next on the agenda is our county manager's report, Ms. Lynn Austin. Got a few items for us.
Just a few. Keep it pretty short. I will say on the PPDR, just following up from Chris, we asked them to do a QR code or something that get out there, but they have to have some hold harmless agreement signed, which is still no problem. PPDR is private property debris removal, so that's coming up to your house, getting debris that you can't take down to the roadway on the right-of-way pass, and that's why they're making 3 or 4 spots, is because people still taking it to the right-of-way, which is fantastic if you have that ability. But also you have to draw out, as my understanding, a diagram of what you want removed where, and a copy of your deed. So I'm sure it can still be uploaded online and find some sort of validation way that your neighbor can't sign you up. So, but right now it's in person, and last week with the snowstorm, it cut them off from being able to provide that service. So I believe they're Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday again this week up at the DRC beside Fred's, the Disaster Recovery Center up there. So if you need that service, by all means, please go up and sign up. And they're going to try to coincide that with the waterway. I talked to our guy from the state today, and we did our first initial pass. Jeff saw us doing our damage inventory for the county, on the county property side. We just had our meeting about 3 weeks ago, so we're starting to collect all that and putting it in a spreadsheet. But when he saw our debris tech, Chris, he was like, wow, y'all already got that going? You got it? Because you have to submit packages up to the state, they have to be approved, and then we can move on to the next train. So evidently we're way ahead of the game than most counties on that waterway, so thank you. And they're moving along pretty good, and I think they're going to try to coincide with the PPDR, that private property, with the waterway. So as they move down that waterway and your house is here, they'll get it and go on down to the next house, and hopefully everybody will sign up that needs it pretty quickly, and we can coordinate those efforts so we're not making 3 or 4 spots. So they don't care to, but it'd be faster if you need that debris removed to go ahead and get signed up there. It's a process. It's a long process, I think. We're into the long haul, as Jeff says now. We're not in the short haul here. We're into the long-term care and recovery. So just hang in there. We're coming as fast as we can. Wheels are being greased where we need them to be greased, but sometimes they don't happen fast enough for us. We'll all agree on that. So best we can do, though, and we have people like Tommy back there helping us push the wheels in motion, and hopefully things will get going here pretty quick. So first off on my county manager's report this is the yearly resolution that we always do every January. It's a resolution of the Yancey County Board of Commissioners prescribing procedures for disposal of surplus personal property valued at less than $30,000. So that just gives me the authority to surplus these vehicles or old tractors or old tractors or something that we have that we don't need laying around. Now, could be now, that we do that every January, so that would just be passing out.
Guess I'll make that motion. I second. Have a motion and a second. We're all in agreement, none opposed.
Okay, thank you much.
Standard operating procedure.
And then, we have the DEQ, we have a couple of resolutions here. We have the DEQ offering acceptance for the ARPA funding that we need to approve. It's for the Charlie Brown Road. We have that and have, signed it. There's no problem there. That is for the, extension of Charlie Brown of sewer that we're working with us and the town, but it is a county project. And that, is for $1,261,320, so $1,261,320. And we have a resolution on that, just saying that the commissioners are good with that. There's no matching funds there, just part of the policies and procedures that we do with DEQ. And we have done on the other ARPA money, projects that we have with the water and sewer. So we'll need that one approved first.
This is also, one of those standard operating procedures when we go through this particular type of grant process. And DEQ stands for Department of Environmental Quality. It's just a checkbox that we have to do with them, when we're doing an extension on any of our infrastructure. So with that being said, the resolution for the DEQ ARPA money approval for the Charlie Brown Road project, do I hear a motion? We have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
And we are all in favor, none opposed.
Okay, thank you. The second resolution is for, the same funds, different, some of the money that we got, $688,820. Then again, just shoring things up on with DEQ. It's for the Bakers Creek well project that we're doing there, simply drilling wells to, help the town increase their water supply. These projects was going on way before the storm, but much needed now more than ever. So, $688,820, non-matching.
Yeah, and this again is Department of Environmental Quality, and something that we've been working on. This is another box to check that we have already discussed and approved. So I hear a motion on this resolution. I also have a motion and a second. We are all in favor, so there is none opposed.
Thank you very much. Next thing is the road naming application for the 911 and public safety complex. We have turned that in when the sheriff and I were talking and, to the folks buying the property down there behind, Tommy Buchanan, building there from the Youngs. One thing that they asked us was to honor some of their one of their family members, Josie Young, is they would like for us to name that drive down there, Josie Young Drive, and put that name in there somewhere. And to do that, they took off $50,000 of the purchase price. And so we thought that was well needed, worth $50,000 for sure. And so this street name application form that we have submitted, the sheriff and Wes Presnell, the application, we would like for that to, for you to know about it and approve that. A lot of times there is a little discrepancy. A lot of times we don't like to name roads after people's names, because not necessarily, it might be an old home place or something, or where that person may not live anymore. And that's kind of been one of the things going forward, but we have a lot of names and road names in the county. And matter of fact, we do have a Joe Young road in the county, but this will be Josie Young Drive, and I don't think it's going to cause any confusion to dispatch, because dispatch will be located on this road. So if there's any confusion, they'll be able to quickly amend that real quick. So I don't see any kind of problem, and it saves us and the taxpayers $50,000. So
Makes it no.
We have a motion and a second.
Second.
And a second. We are all in agreement, so there's none opposed. Thank you for that.
And I have one more little item of business that's not on your agenda there, but I need to get a quick vote on, is a memorandum of understanding with our dispatch center. The sheriff and his staff at 911 has realized that our mutual aid, a lot of times is the counties around us, you know, in North Carolina, but we're statewide. The mutual aid agreement is statewide. And so when Helene, talking to rewriting the books, when Helene hit, 99% of the time, most of the time, if something happens in Madison County and they're out of power, we're not out of power too. And so we can cover for each other pretty easily. But one thing that we realized in Helene is we both got hit at the same time. It knocked us both out, and we can't back up for ourselves or anybody else when we're county beside each other. So one thing that Regina Duncan had asked me to put before you tonight was a mutual aid in occurrence of a failure of 911 emergency call system and dispatch with Columbus County. So this separates us a little bit where we're all not on the same grid and be able to provide services for each other. So I would ask, and this is for 911 purposes only, I would ask that we approve this and have a backup at Columbus County to cover our calls.
Why Columbus County?
Well,
The parties. So the way it's good to you, it's not nobody in the way to work, so. That makes sense. We'll be back up and follow them. Okay. If they get hit by hurricane, yeah.
What town is that?
That's down next to Whitewood.
Yeah.
That's not,
Okay, where's what?
that's down below Lumberton, or in that area.
So, next, yeah, that's.
Right.
Well, there, okay, okay.
so this way, and it can be terminated with just a submission of 30 days advance written notice. It's not, you know, any kind of.
I was just curious why Columbus County. Motion approved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Hearing none opposed, that motion does carry. Thank you for that.
And that's all I have.
Thank you, Lynn, we appreciate that. Next on the agenda, we have two different items of board appointments. And we have asked a few folks, and there needs to be some nominees. The first one will go. Tommy, thank you for coming, sir. We appreciate it.
God bless y'all.
Tommy Lauder, thank you for all that you've done for Representative from Congressman Chuck Edwards' office. We appreciate you being here. Thank you.
I'll be back.
Okay, thank you, sir. We got the board appointments to our Tourism Development Authority, the TDA board. And we have three nominees here. We will discuss these nominees and we will come to agreement, or without everybody being here, I think it'd be okay that we do this since it's not a monetary value. But we have for the TDA board, there's three nominees. One is Miss Crystal Garland. She is in the real estate business, so she understands that. And then there is Miss Gretchen Banks, and she also is in the real estate industry. And then there's Ryan Heaton, which is the owner of Carolina Country Inn in town. So he's also in that particular type industry, the hospitality industry. So if you want, we can nominate all three, but we can only vote on two. So and they're not here. So let's go with Crystal Garland. How do you want to do it?
Just take Crystal off.
You sure?
Yeah. No problem.
I mean, that's she's your, so you're good with that?
That's no problem.
Okay. Well, that's gonna make it easy. We'll have two. We'll have Gretchen Banks and Ryan Heaton.
Does that work out for you?
That's fine. You know, that takes the heat off. All right. So first we will have Miss Gretchen Banks. All in favor of Miss Gretchen Banks' appointment to the TDA board, say aye.
Aye.
I hear none opposed. Unanimous. Thank you for that. So next is Mr. Ryan Heaton. He's the owner of Carolina Country Inn. All in favor of Mr. Heaton? And unanimous. We're all in favor of Mr. Heaton. So that's two on the board. So that fills those two spots. All right. Next is our Veda Health Regional Board. These two appointments, we have appointment at large, and then one of them has to be a commissioner. Mr. David Grunstack, our commissioner, has volunteered to sit on this board. And it is an appointment during the day, and I was sitting on that board, so David is gonna fill that spot. All in favor of David Grunstead? You, all right, hearing none opposed. Well, you were outvoted anyway. So, unanimous, all in favor, none opposed. And then next is, Mr. Noah Worley, works with, highly recommended by, Sonia Morgan from the Department of Social Services. He is one of the lead, directors there, and, will do a good job and is willing to sit on that board. So, any discussion about Noah? All right, all in favor of Noah Worley?
Yes.
Two? You in? Okay. All right, so you voting? Okay, so it's two to one. All right, so Mr. Noah Worley will sit on that board. All right, that concludes the nominees and voting on these two board appointments. Next on our agenda, thank you for that. Next on our agenda is County Commissioners Report. Any commissioners got anything? David Martin? The only thing I would like to say is just thank the public, thank you all for participating. As always, we appreciate your input and all that you do. And thank you for coming to the meetings and how everybody has really helped out so much during this disaster. But one thing that I want to say is there's a lot of chatter that goes on in social media, and we know and realize social media can be a great asset, but it can also be detrimental to the facts. So just make sure that you understand what's going on in reality before you take note of social media being something that's true, because some of the stuff that's been discussed here tonight with the updates has given us some facts about some things that's been not so factual on social media. So just make sure that you understand the facts before you take notice of some things. We've been putting out fires for the last couple of weeks because of social media, non-factual information. So anyway, we appreciate everybody taking part. Thank you so much. And next is our county attorney's report, Mr. Ross. All right. Next we have our public comments, and we do have three speakers, and our first speaker, and I'm going to try my best to get the last name right, Jackie Moss. Close. I know, I never get it right. Jackie, thanks for coming. So we appreciate you being here. And she's going to be speaking about coping with loss. About 3 minutes, Jackie.
Before you start, tell us how to pronounce what your name is.
Mass.
Nice. Kind of a German thing.
Got it. Got it. I will work on that. Jackie M. How's that?
Okay.
Got it.
All right, good evening. I brought some show and tell this time. It's going to be hard to see, but take my word for it. This is a photo of my younger brother. He suffered from diabetes. He died during the height of COVID when his Florida hospital did not have sufficient living, healthy, rested medical staff to provide adequate care. These are pieces of broken pottery. I also have broken patio furniture, porch roof, front steps, and landscape features caused by trees falling down on and around my home during Hurricane Helene. And yet I know I was one of the lucky ones. These treasures are some of the few things that we salvaged from the ashes of our home that burned to the ground in a California firestorm similar to the one raging now in Los Angeles. We literally ran for our lives. I know, don't live next door to me. The fire, like the pandemic and Hurricane Helene, were events that happened to my family, over which we had no real control. I believe the decision to remove our library from the Amy regional system is an effort by the county to assert control over outside events and external influences. If we have learned anything from our recent experiences with the pandemic and climate catastrophes, such as hurricanes and fires, it is that such control is never possible. It is illusory. Chasing total control is a waste of energy, time, and money. Eviscerating our library will not succeed at controlling anything. It will not stop gay people from being born in or choosing to live in Yancey County. And the internet ensures that no one can prevent gay and non-gay people from obtaining gay literature. It will only make it a wee bit harder, but at the extreme cost of gutting our wonderful library. We might as well promise the people of Yancey County that we can control the wind and the rain. Gay and trans people are God's children as surely as you and I and all of us. No attempt at control can change that reality. However, this is important. There is something that we can control, and that is our own behavior as a council and as citizens of Yancey County. The choice to treat everyone, including our gay neighbors, with respect and acceptance and love. Saving the precious resource that is our Yancey County Library by remaining a member of the Amy Regional System would be an act of love, and you could do it in one vote. Please consider that. I know you're in a process, but there's always an opportunity to put the brakes on and make the right decision.
Thank you, Jack. Next is Miss Jeannie Boyd Bull. Thank you for coming, ma'am. She's going to be speaking on post-Helene priorities.
I want to begin by just thanking you all for all of your amazing work. Everybody in this room who has spoken, all the ways you've worked together. I remember during the very early days after the hurricane, when you did have electricity, so I could get the radio, listening to your regular radio updates, and feeling very reassured and taken care of. So I want to start by just thanking you. And I am proud to live in Yancey County. I'm proud for the ways we work together. And I'm also someone who lost my home. My house got the landslide on 80 South shoved my house off its foundation and it had to be destroyed. Thankfully, Chuck Randolph is repairing my car. And I got good FEMA money.
Good.
So I'm very thankful for that. And I'm still looking for a long-term rental in the Southfield area. Do you know anything? I don't know. And I have a good place to live in the meantime. And so I just want to thank you, and I want to thank you for making that your focus. And I also want to speak to you as a retired librarian. I've spoken on that before. I worked for years with Baltimore County Public Libraries, and I would like to urge you to continue your excellent focus on the recovery and to delay the process of whatever you're going to do with the library. It's going to take resources, and right now your resources need to be where they are, which is focusing on the recovery and moving into the response measure. I also wanted to point out that Amber Westhold Briggs received the North Carolina received some extra grant money because of Helene, and I think that could be helpful to tide the library over through this time while your focus is on the community. And I also just want to say, just so you get to know me a little better, I am out lesbian and have been for my whole life. I also have a Master of Divinity and was a pastor for years with Metropolitan Community Church, which serves the LGBTQ community. So I know a lot about the struggles and the opinions and the diversity that we have in our county. And I again say I'm proud to live here, and I know what it means to fight. So I want to tell you that there are different positions And there are different positions among Christians. And I want you to be open to that diversity as you move forward in whatever you choose to do with the Lord. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. And next, as usual, Mr. Danny McIntosh, Honorable Speaker. And Danny's speaking on question mark.
We've got a lot going on here tonight, I'll tell you. And I think I talked to Morgan earlier this week, and I said, who's in charge of the county's Facebook page? And she told me that April was doing that. April, it don't go unnoticed. I told Morgan, I said, when you can get real-time weather updates and closure updates and shelter updates and warming center updates all weekend long, somebody's got to do that, you know. It don't just happen. So that's, like I said, April, don't go unnoticed. That's great, I think. And Chris does have a way of showing up. He showed up over at the fire department one morning about 5:15. He started his own ambulance service. That's a whole other story. But when he came through the door, Sharon and I just got there, hadn't got the lights turned on, and Chris came through the door. And he needed something, you know, but he looked at me, and the first thing when he said, hey, he said, I know you. So, yeah, that's a couple of good finds the county's made. I think there's been a passing that's worthy of note. I think we've all probably heard that behind every good man is a good woman. That might be a sexist remark. I'm not sure exactly what that is. We've all heard it. But Remel Sink has passed. And I think the contributions that the Sink family, Remel and Ardell and Mike and Holly have made over the years just been tremendous. I mean, when you consider how important that a radio station has been to Yancey County. I mean, that's a big deal, and it continues to be a big deal. So I think that, I think she was part of the driving force in that duo, and she took an active part. I know that we get to hear J.R. Dale's point of view a lot of times, but I'd say that she had her own point of view, and that she really made a lot of worthwhile contributions to county. So I think that's worthy of note at the meeting of the Board of Commissioners. And I thank y'all for what you do, and there is a lot of good work going on. And these projects, Lynn, they're good projects, they're progress, and they were going on before the storm. But still, we need, I can't imagine what all that you got to put up with at this point, but there's still some good things happening. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Danny. And I do want to allude to that, as Ms. Bull has already spoken of how important radio is, because it is a great asset that you can tune in. But I got to talk to Mike as over the past about 35 years, Mike and I have had a relationship of being able to communicate well, and I've been on the radios with him many times, and they are a great family. Their character and their service to our county needs to be recognized, and I really appreciate that. As a matter of fact, we probably ought to do something on our Facebook page to do that. We'll get up with you about that. But talking to Mike right after her passing, and he said that she was very, very diligent and very tireless in the work that she done every single day. He said he worked beside her every day without fail for the past 45 years that he has been involved with the radio station. And I think that that's a very good testimony to her diligence in her work and her dedication. And they definitely deserve some credit for what they've done for Yancey County, because they're definitely an icon in the county, and we definitely want to do something for them. So let's get together and maybe do something. You know, we had what was it, 3 or 4 years ago, whenever it was, we had at the town center for Ardell Sink and that was a very appropriate, meeting, and I think that, we definitely ought to honor Ms. Sink as well. So, folks, thank you so much for being here. I'll be back next month, we were hoping, in passing here, we were hoping to be able to make a big announcement tonight, but it didn't. Things just didn't work out because of weather and just some different things that hampered our meetings with the industry that's coming in here. So stand by. We will get that good information and that exciting news, hopefully at our next commissioners meeting. Yeah, so there will be no closed session tonight. So thank you all for coming. We appreciate you being here. And do I hear a motion to adjourn? And a second. And we're all in agreement. Thank you very much. Luke, stick around, please. Where'd Luke go? Oh, stick around, Luke.
She works with Chris. So
Well,